welcome to the Precious and Base Metalist on the Nazacat channel. I am Nazacat, and you guys are wondering what in the world happened to you? Well, I'm still around, been doing stuff for the family business, picked up another hobby, carpentry, been trying to do some repairs at the house as well as building furniture and just honing my skills. But I've still been collecting precious and base metals, so that is still my passion. And so that has been what's been going on with me since last year and beginning of this year. But I decided to sit here and think, hey, you know what? I got to put out another video. Someone messaged me on my channel and said, where are you? I want you guys to know that I'm still around. I'm still kicking, and I'm going to be around for a while. All right? So today's topic I wanted to talk about is the Canadian copper penny. And as you can see before you, this is my stash of Canadian copper pennies. Now you guys are wondering, what in the world? Why? Why Canadian copper pennies? Why not U.S. copper pennies? Well, I'll tell you. For those of you who may or may not know, back in 2012, right, last year, Canada decided to stop minting Canadian pennies. All right, they said, you know, we're done because of the fact that it cost them 1.6 cents to make. Sounds like they're having the same problems as we're having here in the United States. But Canada's solution is that, hey, you know what? Let's get rid of them. So in May of last year, the mint actually stopped minting the pennies. And starting February 4th, that will be the date where the Royal Canadian Mint will no longer distribute pennies. So basically what they do is they're going to pull them out of circulation, melt them down, and use the metals for other industrial needs. All right, so let's take a look at this in terms of your fundamental economics. Okay, and this is the really big reason why I chose to start hoarding some Canadian copper pennies. Now, if we think about supply and demand, demand is going to be driven from people like myself, copper hoarders, right? All you copper hoarders out there, and also from the either numismatic or non-numismatic community. You might want to get your hands on some of the Canadian pennies because they're not going to be around in circulation. Now, if I checked eBay for the 2012 Canadian penny, that's the last penny that the Royal Canadian Mint is ever going to mint, and MS70 I think is running for already over $100. I could be wrong, maybe even close to 100. And they talk about metallic versus non-metallic. I don't know about that. So if any of you guys know the reasons why they made the 2012 Canadian penny metallic and non-metallic, and which one is more expensive than the other, please let me know. Put your comments in the section below. But yeah, I don't know why, but there's a big demand for the graded Canadian coins. So based on those two things, copper hoarders as well as the grading of the Canadian penny, that's going to create a high demand. And then if you think about the other side of the equation, the supply, well, the supply is basically has stopped. In the next couple of years, it's going to be almost non-existent because a lot of them will be melted down. So it's going to be huge. The price increase is going to be big on these because they're going to become more rare. All right. Now also too, and I mentioned this too, of course, the copper content is 98%. And let me take a step back and say that certain dates of these Canadian copper pennies are 98%. Some of them are 95%, and some of them are 95.5% copper. Now, I looked up in Wikipedia. They do have a column showing you the different metal contents throughout the history of the Canadian penny. I advise you to look at that. But to save some time for all of you guys who want to start hoarding Canadian copper pennies, the dates that you want to look for are 1942 through 1996. It is between those dates that the copper content is 98%. So here I have to sort out and just make sure that the stuff I'm buying off of eBay is in fact 98% copper. Okay, so granted, yeah, for the U.S. penny it's 95%. For Canadians it's 98%. Is that 3% going to make a difference? Not really. But again, the kicker is the fact that the high demand and basically the low, if not non-existent, supply of the Canadian pennies. So that is what swayed me to start looking and investing into the Canadian copper penny. Tell me what you guys think. Would you hoard them? Would you not hoard them? Would you collect them? Would you not collect them? All right, leave your comments in the section below. And guys, thank you so much for watching the Precious and Base Medalist on the NazaCat channel. I am NazaCat, and we'll see you next time.